The world is unfair, you know it, you've seen it. The liars, the manipulators, the cheaters, they move ahead, they prosper. Meanwhile, those who strive, those who play fair, those who respect the rules, end up relegated to the shadows. And that burns you inside because you've done everything right. You've followed the right path, and yet you're still stuck while they rise. Have you ever asked yourself, why do the worst people seem to succeed? Because the most ruthless boss is the one who accumulates the most power. Because the most corrupt politician is the one who goes the furthest. Because the fake, the hypocrite, the one who betrays without blinking, is the one who lives without worry. You have two options. Keep deceiving yourself, thinking that the world is fair, or face the reality. Because here comes the part that no one told you, the part they prefer to keep quiet because it's scary. Success has nothing to do with goodness. It never did. Good people believe there are rules, that life works with justice, that effort will be rewarded. It's a lie. Nietzsche explained it brutally. The morality they imposed on us is a trap. A lie designed to keep you weak while the strong take what they want. And here's the key point. The ones who get ahead are not the most talented, nor the smartest, nor the hardest workers. They are the ones who understand power, the ones who know how the game works. And this game doesn't reward virtue, it rewards cunning. Look at it closely. History is full of powerful figures who were not exactly models of goodness. The great conquerors, the richest entrepreneurs, the leaders who left a mark, were not saints. They were strategists, they were predators. Why? Because the world is not designed for the righteous, but for those who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. The question is, what will you do with this truth? You can deny it, keep believing that if you work hard, someone will reward you, or you can open your eyes. Nietzsche spoke of the Übermensch, the Superman, the one who breaks with the imposed morality and takes control of his destiny. And do you know what defines him? The will to power. Not goodness, not compassion, not humility. Just the will to impose oneself on life. And that's what the successful have always understood. They don't ask for permission. They don't wait for approval. They don't seek justice. They simply take what they want. But here's the most interesting part. This doesn't mean you have to become a villain. It's not about being cruel for pleasure or harming for fun. It's about understanding the real rules of the game. Most people are manipulable. They believe in illusions. They believe that rules exist to protect them. They don't understand that the rules were created by the powerful to control the weak. Look around. Who decides what's right and what's wrong? Who decides what's acceptable and what's not? It's not the truth, it's power. Because power doesn't need justification. It doesn't follow morality, it creates it. Think about it. Who was the last person to level up in your environment? Was it the most prepared? Was it the most honest? Or did they simply know how to move better, sell themselves better, play the game better? This is not a call for evil, it's a call to wake up. If you keep believing that doing things right and waiting for your reward will get you anywhere, you'll be left behind. History doesn't remember those who wait. It remembers those who act. The question is not whether the world is fair or not. The question is, are you going to keep waiting for justice, or are you going to take control? Nietzsche made it clear that the superior man is the one who frees himself from the lies that chain him, the one who stops asking for permission, the one who understands that power is not granted, it's taken. And here's the final truth. No one is going to give you what you deserve. If you want something, you'll have to snatch it. So tell me, are you ready to stop being a spectator in the game of power? And here's the question no one dares to answer honestly. What would you be willing to do for success? Not the answer you want to give, but the real one. How much would you be willing to sacrifice? How many principles would you bend? How far would you go to get what you really want? Because that's where the line is drawn between those who move forward and those who stay behind. The powerful have it clear they don't believe in fairy tales. They don't wait for someone to rescue them. They don't cling to the idea that the world will reward their goodness. They create their own path. And the big difference between them and the rest is that they've understood something essential. Morality is not an absolute truth, but a tool, one that can be used in their favor or against them. Nietzsche saw it clearly. He said that the norms, ethics, universal compassion are ideas designed to hold back the strongest. That Christian morality, for example, was created to tame the powerful, to make them feel guilty for their ambition, to prevent them from taking what naturally belongs to them. And although it sounds cruel, the world has shown that he was right. The reality is brutal. If you're too good, you get used. If you're too trusting, you get deceived. If you're too just, they surpass you. Meanwhile, those who have understood how power works move forward without obstacles. Not because they're geniuses, not because they're the most prepared, but because they're willing to do what most wouldn't. Have you noticed how the most successful people act? They rarely apologize, they don't explain their moves, they don't seek approval. Why? Because they don't need it. While others worry about whether what they're doing is right or acceptable, they simply do it. They don't stop to ask whether it's right or wrong, because they understand that history is written by those who win, not by those who doubt. The problem is that they've taught you to fear power. They've educated you to believe that ambition is bad, that wanting more than what you have is selfish, that wanting to dominate your surroundings is synonymous with being evil. But all of that is a convenient lie, because while you suppress your ambition, others exercise it without remorse. Have you noticed that the worst people rarely feel guilty? It's not a coincidence. They've understood that guilt is a tool of control. While you punish yourself for every mistake, they keep moving forward without looking back. And that gives them an advantage, because the one who doesn't feel guilt, the one who doesn't get trapped in regret, is free. And freedom is power. But this brings us to an even deeper question. Is it possible to succeed without becoming one of those people? The answer is yes, but with nuances. It's not about becoming a monster, but about stopping being prey. Stop waiting for justice. Stop depending on the validation of others. Stop acting as if the world owes you something. This is where the psychology of power comes in. To understand how to move forward without losing your identity, you need to understand what drives people, how their desires, fears, and insecurities work. And above all, you need to learn how to move in the shadows, to read the game before others even know it exists. Look at the most successful people. The truly powerful are not the ones who shout about their greatness, but the ones who know how to operate in silence, those who can influence without exposing themselves, those who have networks, alliances, plans that others don't even suspect. And here's the key. Success is not just about being the best. It's about being the most strategic. It's not the most talented who goes the furthest. It's the one who understands how to play with the pieces they have. Power is not brute force. It's not about shouting louder. It's intelligence, patience, timing. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It's understanding that, sometimes, the best way to win is to make others think they've won. Nietzsche summed it up in one idea: the superior man is the one who creates his own rules, not the one who follows the rules of others, not the one who waits for permission, not the one who lives under the judgment of the masses, but the one who decides his own path, without fear, without regret, without excuses. The big question is, what will you do with this truth? Will you keep waiting for justice, or will you start moving with intelligence? Because, at the end of the day, history is written by those who take power, not by those who wait their turn. And if you still think success depends on being good, prepare for a life of disappointments, because, while you keep doubting, those who aren't afraid to take what they want will already be far ahead of you. But now comes the part that will hurt the most. Most people will never cross that line. Hearing this, understanding it, even accepting it in theory, is not enough. Because knowing the truth and doing something with it are two completely different things. Most likely, when this video ends, you'll return to your normal life, go back to your old ideas. Tell yourself that all of this is too extreme, that deep down the world can't be that cruel, that justice exists in some way, and you'll keep waiting. Because inaction is comfortable, because self-deception is a warm refuge, because admitting that power is not for everyone is terrifying. And that's where those who understand the truth separate from those who do something with it. If you've made it this far, you no longer have excuses. You can't say that no one told you the truth. You can't blame the system, society, or bad luck. Now you know the world operates under rules they didn't teach you in school. And if you keep ignoring them, you'll remain a pawn on someone else's board. But here's the most important part. It's not about becoming ruthless. It's about becoming awake, about opening your eyes, about playing the game intelligently, about not waiting, but acting, about not being the one who asks, but the one who takes. Power is not something you beg for. It's something you build, something you snatch, something you claim without asking for permission. And the first step is to understand that if you keep operating under the same rules as everyone else, you'll never stand out from the crowd. The good people, the noble people, the ones who do the right thing without questioning, are the first to be sacrificed. Because the rules they follow were not made to protect them. They were made to keep them in their place. So now you have two options. You can close this video and go back to your usual life, believing that one day everything will magically change. Or you can use this as a turning point, as a before and after. Because at the end of the day, there are only two types of people: those who are moved by others and those who move others. You decide which side of history you want to be on. If this video made you think, I want you to leave a comment with the following phrase: power is not asked for, it's taken. I want to see how many of you truly understood what you just heard. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe, because on this channel, we won't tell you what you want to hear. We'll tell you what you need to know. See you in the next video.